Okay, so for this last session, we'll be looking at exporting our drawings. We'll be exporting our drawings as PDFs. Just makes things easier when scaling them in relation to the paper size. So to get started, we want to first create a sheet. This will be kind of like our page where we put our drawing on. So first you want to go down to sheets in our project browser. And if you don't have a sheet already, all you have to do is go right click and go new sheet. Now it'll load a little window, and usually it has preset title block pages with different sizes. If you don't have any, or if you just have one, you can edit it. So we'll go through that now. So if you just select one, or if you go load, you go into the title blocks, there should be usually a few others. But for the meantime, we'll just use this A2 one, and we can edit it, change the size of it as well. So if I just go load, so this is our sheet, and it pops up in our project browser as well. Now to edit the size, we'll just use a A3 sheet. We'll change this to an A3 sheet. So right now, this is currently 558 millimeters across. So if I want to change this to an A3 size, what I want to do is I want to select the sheet, and then I want to go edit family. Now it will take me to another window, and this is where we can edit the actual sheet itself. So what I can do is that I can just select all these little text boxes and the lines, just delete them. Really all I want to do is get just this outline for our sheet. So you can just delete all these things. Okay, now that we've got this little box here, I want to change it to the dimensions for a A3 sheet. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the width to 297. Oh, not the width, the height, the length. And change this to 420. Just make sure 420, 297. Cool. So that's how you pretty much just change the size to make it A3, or if you want to change it to any other paper size, again, just get those dimensions out. Again, this is in millimeters. If you cannot, or if your project's in like inches or anything, all you want to do is go manage, go project units, and then here, this is where you can change the units that your project is in. So if it's in inches at the moment, what you have to do is go into manage, go into project units, and change this back to millimeters or centimeters if you want to use that measurement, and then go okay. So since my project's already in millimeters, it should be all good. So again, 297, 420, that's our A3 sheet. Now what I want to do now is I want to go into load this project and close, and I want to save the changes to this template. I'm going to go yes, and again you can just load this into a folder that you want to. I'm going to change this to A3, and we'll call it A3 landscape. Okay, and I'll go save, and then it will load our sheet back into our project. And what I can do with this one is I can delete it, and here we have our new A3 sheet. Now that's pretty much the process in terms of creating a new template. To put our drawings onto our sheet, it's a pretty simple process. All you have to do is drag and drop the drawing. So you can do it from the project browser. So if I want to use a section, if I just select it here, hold down the left mouse button and drag it onto our sheet, and I can click it in place, it drops our drawing onto our sheet. As you can see, it's quite a long section, and again, most of it won't fit onto our paper, but we can edit the scale inside our drawing here. So as you can see, if I put my mouse over this drawing here, it shows us the kind of like the boundary of our drawing. Now, I can't edit the drawing right now. However, if I click inside of this section window here, we get our options back for our display, our displays and our graphic options at the bottom here, and I can change the scale to a smaller scale. So if I change it to 1:200, we can see in relation to the A3 sheet, it's quite small. So if I change it to maybe 1:100, that's a bit more better scale. And then if I click out of the window, I can then, if I click out of it and select it, I can then move this across and move it inside our A3 sheet here. And if I want to edit it again, I'm going to click inside of this little box here, click inside of the window. And here we can see I can actually edit the drawing as if I was actually in the section view itself. However, if I click outside of that area again, it's deselected and it's more so just the view itself. I can move it freely. So yeah, so if you want to edit the drawing that you're putting on your sheet, just click inside this window here and click inside the actual drawing window. And then if you just want to move it, click outside of it just so it doesn't select everything in the drawing itself. To get rid of these lines or these titles, what we have to do here is click on the sheet, and then on this little drop down menu here, you can go no title, and it should get rid of that box for you. Cool. So pretty much from here, up to you whether you want to add more drawings onto your sheet. If you just wanted to export the section, that's fine. If you wanted to export multiple drawings on the same sheet, same process again, just drag and drop your view or your drawing onto the sheet. Again, if I wanted to change the scale for this one, I'm going to double click inside of this box here, inside of the window, double click, and then I can change, then we can change all the properties really. And I'll change this to 1 to 100. I'll click outside of it so I can move it with the sheet view. Yeah. And then if I wanted to crop this, doesn't really matter if you don't crop it. Again, if we export this as an A3 sheet, anything outside of this our A3 box here will be cropped off regardless. However, if I wanted to crop it out here, I would click inside this window so I can change our properties for our actual drawing. Then I'll put in I'll edit our crop box. I'll put that in. And then again, if we want to change or hide any lines, you can select the floor plan lines. So if these are getting in the way, again, we can go EH. And if we wanted to bring them back, again, we want to go into this little icon here, reveal hidden elements. And then if you select these, go unhide element or EU on your keyboard to bring them back. If you want to just close that, there's a little X there. And same process again, if you want to get rid of this line and these titles here, go no title, you can easily add them in Photoshop. And we'll just go there, that here. Again, if you want to get rid of this box, you can hide it. So if I click back in here, select that crop region visible, and I apply that, and there we have it. So yeah, if you wanted to export multiple drawings on the same page, that's really the process how to do it. Again, if you wanted to increase the scale, again, just click inside these window boxes here. But we'll just use this as an example to print. So since I've got my two sections, I know this one's not filled in properly, but we'll just keep it as that, just to carry on. So once you've got your drawings on your sheet, we want to go into File, and we want to go into Print. You can also just press Control P, again, the keyboard shortcut. We want to go Print. Now you get your print window here. Now what you want to do is that if you have multiple printers connected to your computer, they'll have to be in this little drop down menu here. But we want to go into Adobe PDF. Now again, we want to go PDF again because it's exporting as a PDF and paper sizes, and having those scales inside those papers, or having our scale drawings in relation to our paper sizes is quite important. Otherwise, the scale might kind of blow out or increase or decrease. So we just want to keep it at that Adobe PDF. Next, we want to go into the properties. Now, when we want to, first thing we want to look at is this output folder. Now, sometimes if we go into this prompt for Adobe PDF file name, it's pretty much just selecting where you want to save it. So if you have a specific folder that you want to save it as, that's really what this refers to, and really just changing the name. What happens if we press documents, whenever we export the page, it will go directly to our documents folder on your computer. This is quite good because it's quite fast. For some reason, I've found that when this option is on, it takes a bit to load. We'll keep this on for now, but if it does take a bit to load, I'll change this back to documents, and hopefully it loads up better. And over here as well, page size, we want to change this to A3. Again, if you can have multiple pages at different sizes as well. So if this is an A3, you'd go A3, but you can also make an A4 page. And then if it was an A4 pages that you were printing, you would change that to A4. But we'll keep that at A3 just for now. You can have your own. So if you wanted multiple sections or multiple plans all on a single page, but you couldn't fit it on an A3, you can just make your own banner. However, just for this, we'll keep it at our A3 page. So we'll go OK. Again, for here on the browse, you can change the name and change where it's saved. And setup, this is our next one we want to go to. Oh, actually, no, we'll go into our print range. Current window is usually the one that's open. So the one that's actually open on our tabs here, that's the one that will print. Or you can go and select the view sheets. We want to scroll down when we want to go into sheet A103. You can change the name in the project browser, but this is the one we want to export. So we'll go OK. And we'll say yes. Go OK. Now we want to go into setup and the settings on the setup. And here again, if you haven't changed that paper size in the properties tab in the previous window, this is where you would change it to. Again, we want to keep it to A3. And now on these two kind of options here, we want to make sure this is at center, but however, we want to make sure this is on zoom. However, once we put it on zoom, we can change this. We see this goes into the offset. Click on zoom, change this back to center. The next thing we want to do is make sure we've got our orientation right. So if you wanted to make this or export this as portrait, you could just simply select the box or select the page outline that we made in that previously. So when I changed it to 420 mils by 297, all you have to do is pretty much just select that box and use the rotate tool, change it to portrait. So the next thing you want to look at is our vector and raster processing. Just to keep it short, vector processing is better for line drawings. Raster processing is used for more so drawings that have shadows or used for renders as well. So since we're exporting line drawings, we want to keep it to vector processing because it comes out in a better quality as well. The next thing we want to do is on raster quality, we want to go into presentation, makes it the nicest quality, and colors, depending on what kind of drawings you're going at. Again, if you just want to make it black lines, again, just choose the color that, or choose the option that suits your drawings. So I'll just go black lines for this one. And now that we're all sorted, I'm just going to go OK. And again, you can save these settings for future sessions. Again, the only thing you'd probably have to change is either the orientation or the paper size, or even the colors as well. If you have some colored lines, so I'll go yes, and I'll just say A3 landscape setup. And then if I go OK, if I go back to the setup, I'll have the different options that we can have. So you can do this for your A4 page, you can do this for an A2 page as well. You just pretty much set that and then it'll change all the settings that you had saved before. So now that we're all good, again, you can go browse and then I'll change this to, so let's just say sections and I would save. Okay, now that we've got all that sorted, all you have to do is go OK. And then I want to go yes. And then again, it'll give you the option to save or where to save it. Again, you can take all that off We'll just go sections. So I'll go save. And it takes a while for it to load. And here we can see it's loaded up. And if I open up here, it should come up as the same kind of size as we exported it before. Again, the reason we try and keep it on these kind of size papers is because it's easier to recognize the scale, or keeps the scale intact. Again, when you're dealing with different sizes of paper, it's a bit difficult to kind of trace that scale. But yeah, that's pretty much how you export it as a PDF. You can also do this with 3D drawings as well. So if I want to put this one onto a sheet, I go back onto my sheet, and then I just go select that, left click, and then hold down the left mouse button again, drag and drop. Now to get the kind of same, or like, because you can't scale perspective drawings. Again, if I double click on this view here, it has perspective where it would have the scale. If we want to change kind of the size or the outline of our drawing, what we want to do is select inside. So I've double clicked inside the drawing here. So you want to double click inside the drawing and the outline. If I select that, we have our size crop. Now you can pretty much just change these dimensions depending on what type of size paper you have. So since this is an A3, I change this to the A3 dimensions. I can make this smaller as well. So if I wanted to make this 250, I wanted to make this maybe 350. This will change kind of the outlines of my drawing. Here we can see there, makes it a bit smaller, and I can make it fit inside the page more. And if I do this 420, change this back to 297. And yeah, if I don't want this outline again, I just go no title. And if I want to hide this actual outline, I'm going to go back onto crop region visible, just untick that and go apply. And that gets rid of that outline box. And then if I click out of the window again, I just select it, this is when I can move it manually. Same thing, if I want to export this as a PDF, I'll get rid of these yellow lines as well. So if I want to hide these, go VG, go lighting fixtures, go light source, apply. Now again, if I wanted to export this, I'd go, well, before we export, when you're using 3D views, another thing as well is to try and turn off shadows. If you don't turn off the shadows, it will change it to raster processing, and it might not come out as clean, or the line work might not come out as nice. So yeah, you want to make sure that if the shadows are on, if they were on, it'd come out real gray. So if I want to turn these off just to get the outlines, if you wanted shadows, that'd be good. But again, if you use shadows, it will use raster processing, and it'll be kind of like a lower quality output. But just carry on. Again, we'll just go Control P, TikTok print. Again, select the view. You can go current window as well. So if I just go current window, it's whatever one's open, again on our tab here. And I'm gonna go, since the setup's so weird, I'm gonna go okay. I'm gonna go okay again. I'm gonna change the name this time. 3D view. Go okay. Again, save it in that same folder. Now, if it does take a bit of time, like this one is taking right now, I'll go back to the same option to the properties option that I mentioned before. Now, if it is taking a bit of time, what I would usually do is that I would change this to documents. I would go OK, and then I would go OK again. And now we can see it's just popped up now. So again, it loads. Sometimes it just loads quicker when you do change that option to documents. I'm not too sure why. It's just something I've kind of found out as I've used Revit. So yeah, so if that first option doesn't work when it's the Adobe PDF prompt for name, I change that properties option to documents, and then it just loads up a bit quicker. But that's pretty much how you export your drawings as PDFs. Again, with the vector line processing, the lines are quite nice, quite clean as well. But that's pretty much just the basics in terms of exporting it as a PDF. But yeah, so that's it for this session. If you followed this far, thanks for watching, and hopefully we might have a new series coming out soon. Cool. Thanks.